Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Un Yang.
And I'm Amy Cho. May is Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander Heritage Month.
It's a time when we celebrate the diverse cultures of this community and learn about our rich experiences, remarkable histories, and continuing contributions to this country and beyond. First, we want to introduce you to Amanda Nguyen, the first Vietnamese woman to fly to space. When she's not busy being an astronaut and scientist, she's also a Nobel Prize-nominated activist fighting for the rights of sexual assault survivors through her nonprofit Rise.
Yeah, her passion stems from a painful personal experience. Amanda was sexually assaulted when she was a college student at Harvard. She moved to D.C. after graduating and pushed for a bill to protect fellow survivors. I sat down with her at the Intrepid Museum in New York City to talk about her inspiring journey of never giving up.
They have named themselves the Six, taking up space as each one is ringing a bell.
It was a moment seen around the world. Astronaut Amanda Nguyen getting ready to take off on her first ever space flight. But as she lifted off into the sky and saw where she was going, New Shepard has cleared the tower. It was also a reminder of where she's been.
Dreams. Mine was to go to space. I studied astrophysics, and during my last semester, I was raped.
Amanda went to the hospital and had a rape kit collected. She later learned the state of Massachusetts would destroy rape kits after just 6 months, even though the statute of limitations was 15 years. Amanda says she went through a nightmare of red tape every 6 months trying to get her rape kit extended.
The reason we have a statute of limitations is in recognition that some crimes are so painful, so heinous, that it takes time for somebody to recover and then be able, at a point of their life later, to come back and then address the issue. I was so upset, and I felt like the worst thing that happened to me wasn't being raped. It was being betrayed by America's criminal justice system. And I realized I had a choice. I could accept that injustice or rewrite the law. So I put aside my astronaut dreams and I rewrote the law.
Amanda convinced Congress to pass a Sexual Assault Survivors Bill of Rights.
Sexual violence is an epidemic
that requires states to maintain rape kits for longer. She brought with her a note she'd written after she was raped to never, never, never give up. Years later, when Amanda returned to astronaut training and was chosen to fly with Blue Origin,
I kept my promise.
She would carry that same note into space.
I remember what it was like to testify for 25 million survivors' rights under the hot, bright lights of the United States Senate. You know, I could do that, then I can survive barrel rolls and not vomit, you know?
During her time in space, Amanda had just 10 minutes to carry out multiple science experiments. One was on early cancer detection. Cancer cells that might take years to grow on Earth can grow in just days in space. And another experiment was on how blood behaves in space, either for injuries or women's periods.
I'm sure you're familiar with Sally Ride being sent up to space with 100 tampons. You know, there isn't much research, enough research that's done on women's health, and there certainly isn't enough within aerospace.
The Blue Origin flight received a flood of negative online comments, with some people calling it tone deaf and a waste of money on celebrities. But amid the criticism, many commenters recognized Amanda for her dedication to science and survivors.
What was that like to see that backlash when you came back?
In the midst of it all, I'm just deeply so grateful for everyone who knew what my story is. I know there was such a mega spotlight on it because of its historic nature. It really did help with getting people to be more familiar with my activism as well as my research, so I'm grateful for that.
And throughout her journey, Amanda has often honored her Vietnamese roots. Her parents were refugees who fled after the fall of Saigon.
When Neil Armstrong stepped on the moon, bombs dropped down on Vietnam. Last year, when they looked at the sky, instead of bombs, they saw the first Vietnamese woman in space. That happening in one lifetime is a testament to the ability for anyone to achieve their dreams.
And Amanda says the research she did in space is currently being peer-reviewed for publication. She continues to fight for survivors' rights worldwide and has testified in front of the UN. And she's also hoping to go to space again if there's another opportunity. I mean, just such an impressive woman all around. And so many survivors have written to tell her how much her sharing her story meant to them.
Absolutely. I mean, she turned her pain into purpose, never forgetting that she had a bigger calling on her life and sharing those experiences and helping other people. What an incredible journey for her, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it was around this time in 2019 when the Nationals changed the course of their season to go and win their first World Series. Who could forget that magical season?
I mean, what a time to be alive. Now, 7 years later, a new front office and coaching staff are hoping to recreate that magic. Their top brass includes a young baseball executive who has broken barriers in the Indian American community.
We take a closer look at his success and his journey to Nats Park.
I am super excited about the future of Nationals baseball.
He is just 32 years old and already a trailblazer in the majors.
I'm Ani Kilambi, and I'm the general manager of the Washington Nationals.
Kilambi became one of the youngest GMs in MLB history when he joined Washington last year. A first-generation Indian American whose impressive resume includes 2 trips to the World Series. His love for the game began as a kid while growing up in the Bay Area.
My parents said that between Monday and Thursday, I could only watch 9 innings of baseball, and it was up to me to budget when I could find those innings.
Only 9 innings from Monday through Thursday? As a baseball fan, that must have been tough.
It was tough. It was just an interesting way to keep me on the rails, though.
As a teenager, he became obsessed with the statistics.
I had a spreadsheet going, just a way to try and evaluate whether or not contracts the teams were offering to players were valuable or not.
Kilambi's parents emigrated from India in the 1990s.
My dad is a big sports fan. I got a little bit of that growing up. But at the same time, my parents were trying to nudge me toward a more traditional career path. Early on in my college career, I was thinking I would go into finance. But over time, I just found myself thinking about baseball all the time.
While he was in college, he landed an internship with the Tampa Bay Rays, and his career took off. After 7 years in Tampa Bay, he joined the Phillies as their assistant general manager. The Nats liked him for his humility, calling him one of the brightest front office minds in the game. Now the baseball exec is helping the Nats rebuild and get back to their winning record.
Do you ever think of yourself as a role model?
I think it's incredible that there are still a lot of people who are really passionate about baseball and have quantitative backgrounds who don't really know that you can marry those two things together and build a career out of it.
What would you say to young people who are looking up to you?
I think for me, it's just about finding a niche and finding what you are really passionate about.
With Kilambi as general manager, Paul Taboni as president of baseball operations, and Blake Butera as the team's manager, the Nats have the league's youngest front office, and together they're working to bring Washington back to its glory days.
I think it's a really open-minded group. We're aiming to make a ton of really good decisions, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to get every decision right. We want to approach this with humility and with thoughtfulness and with an idea that we can grow and improve. We're playing a really exciting brand of baseball. We're putting pressure on the defense by running the bases really well. We're bunting, but we're also hitting the ball out of the ballpark. Our pitchers are getting better. We're throwing harder, throwing more breaking balls, and we're going to miss more bats. And I think that all of these things portend success in a way that is going to be really exciting.
We know you're new to Washington. What are you looking forward to being a Washingtonian?
I think the food scene is awesome from the little I've got to experience up to this point, but there's so much I haven't tried. And there are just tons of little awesome neighborhoods throughout that are great places to live, great places to eat, great places to explore, and we're really excited to get a better look at the city.
We're excited to have you, Ani. Welcome to Washington.
Thank you so much.
I'm sure his parents are very proud of him.
Oh my goodness, so much to explore. And I love the fact that he's always loved baseball, watching it all the time. His parents had to limit how much baseball he could watch, and also knowing how much he loved numbers and statistics and marrying that to an incredible career.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
All right, well, if you've ever gone to a park in Fairfax County and enjoyed the fresh air or the scenic views, you have a local Indian American scientist to thank for that. Torsha Bhattacharya is the Director of Stewardship for the Fairfax County Park Authority. I caught up with her about her passion for preserving the outdoors for generations to come.
So So we are here at the Eleanor C. Lawrence Park.
Imagine trying to care for a park that's the size of about 500 football fields.
You see the Walney House.
Now imagine doing that times 400 parks. That's what Torsha Bhattacharya does every day.
No 2 hour in a day and no 2 day in a week is same for me. It just keeps it very interesting, very busy, but I love it.
Bhattacharya is the Director of Stewardship for the Fairfax County Park Authority. Her job is to make sure the parks stay healthy for years to come. That includes saving the natural resources, getting rid of invasive species, and adding more parks and trails. In many ways, it's a dream job for a little girl who grew up playing outside.
I think it comes from my childhood, like growing up in India. Play was always like such an integral part. I mean, it was, you have to study, yes, but play is like the next best thing.
Bhattacharya has a PhD in transportation planning. She and her team often survey the community to find out what they'd like to see at their local parks.
There are people who don't have access to parks and don't have access to these public amenities that I might have taken for granted. I became just so passionate about making sure that every single person, regardless of their gender, their income, their age, ability, or race, they have access to good open spaces.
And though the hours can be long, Bhattacharya says her passion for the job only continues to bloom.
There is no loud claps or ribbon cutting, like the trees are not going to pat me on my back. When I see people enjoying, I played a teeny tiny part in them being able to enjoy just the shade of the tree or the bluebells or whatever it is.
And Bhattacharya is also in charge of overseeing the archaeology work at the parks. Now, they often find artifacts that are thousands of years old and have to figure out the best way to preserve everything. I mean, how cool is that?
She has such an interesting job, and I love her positive attitude, the fact that she says her reward is when she sees other people enjoying the park.
Exactly. It's infectious.
Still to come, we'll try our luck at a game of strategy.
And our celebration of AANHPI heritage continues.
The game of mahjong has been a Chinese tradition for more than a century. It's a long time. And in recent years, it's been growing in popularity around the country.
The restaurant Lucky Danger in DC's Chinatown neighborhood holds mahjong classes every week. I stopped by to try my hand at the game and learn about the important role the game has played in bringing Asian American families together.
When you sign up for a mahjong class at Lucky Danger, come for the cool table.
Is that cool or what?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So
cool.
And stay for the chance to crush your competition.
Oh!
Yeah!
Wow, winner! 1, 2, 3, 4.
The popular tile game was created in China in the 1800s and became a tradition passed down through generations. Instructor Tim Ma learned how to play from his parents.
Mahjong is kind of family thing. So when your family get together for a meal, after meal, you play mahjong.
You need 4 people to play the game. Each person starts with 13 tiles, and you take turns drawing and discarding them.
Mahjong!
What's the objective? What are you trying to accomplish when you play the game?
Mahjong is very much like gin rummy. You play in sets of 3s.
So basically, you have to create sets of either 3 in a row or 3 of a kind. There are some other rules in there too. It all sounds simple enough, but mastering the game enough to win, well, that's another story.
So by the end of today, you should be able to say, hey, I know how to play mahjong.
I'll be an expert.
No expert. It takes a lifetime to master this thing.
And do you see people coming back for repeat classes sometimes?
Quite a bit. So I'm glad they are coming back instead of running off.
One of those regulars is Devin McNally and her work friends.
We played in different places, and we played with Mr. Ma and his son and his friends, and to see them get really excited about it and how fast they move with it, like, it's invigorating, and it makes you want to really know how to play.
And while I certainly am nowhere near expert level just yet, I did manage to get the upper hand at least once.
Mahjong! I win! Winner! Winner over here.
You did.
So listen, I'm pretty sure they let me win, admittedly. There are other more advanced versions of the game that can be played with 16 tiles. I'm not quite there yet, but I've always wanted to have my Crazy Rich Asians moment where she flips the rack. So, I felt like I got that.
My kids tried to teach me how to play, and they learned from their friends.
Yeah.
We even got a set for Christmas one year.
Yeah.
It is so difficult
It is
to
a
learn.
lot of rules, very confusing, but, it's easy to kind of get into, but to really master it, as he said, takes a lifetime.
Yeah.
Welcome back. A Nepalese immigrant is nominated for one of the most prestigious culinary awards in the country, and you can eat his cooking right here in D.C.
Chef Suresh Sundas has humble roots that have grown into a huge presence in the local food scene with Tapori and Daru. But he will tell you that while he's excited about all the praise, he is dedicated to bringing his culture, heritage, and community into every dish. Chef Suresh Sundas is an unlikely culinary star.
So when you do the double fry, it has a more chance to get a crispy and nice texture.
He has no formal training and has worked only in a handful of kitchens, but he is now the first chef from Nepal to be a James Beard Award finalist. What has this been like for you, this experience?
Oh, this is amazing. This is amazing. So honor, be a part of this, all the love from the community and the people.
Sundas is nominated for Best Chef Mid-Atlantic for his work at Tapori, a South Asian street food restaurant in the H Street corridor.
I'm going to slightly batter this phrase, a lotus root stem. And we're going to do a deep fry, making a lotus root chaat. And it's not only about the excellence. I think it's all about the responsibility and more to the community, cuisine, my heritage.
To understand Sundas's passion for cooking, you have to go to Pathari, a small village in Nepal where Sundas was born and raised.
I grew up with my single mom. I got lucky to cook with her because when my mom go to work, I am who cook the dish and cook the meal for our family. What I learned is be honest with the dish. Be very honest and simple. At the same time, got emotion in the dish.
When he moved to the U.S. nearly 20 years ago, he had to work at a 7-Eleven, but he always made time to cook at home.
Someone had my chicken curry and he stopped me. Hey, who cooked this chicken curry? Yeah, and I was rushing to, rushing to work, and they stopped me. And this guy, and she called me, and she said, "Did you cook this chicken curry?" And I said, "Yes." No, you should be working in some restaurant. This is amazing, so delicious. And that word got me in my heart. And so,
that brief exchange inspired him to get his first restaurant job in Reston. Then, after a short stint in Philadelphia, he landed at the highly acclaimed Rasika in D.C.
Then I learned more about it, more about the flavor, about the cuisine, and I fell in love more, and at the same time, my dream got more bigger and stronger.
In 2021, Sundas opened Daru on H Street, which won New Restaurant of the Year at the Restaurant Association of Metropolitan Washington's Rammy Awards. In 2025, Sundas won a Rammy for Rising Culinary Star. And with all the praise for Tapori, his star is still rising.
I mean, the food looks so delicious, and I love that he grew up learning how to cook from his mom. I feel like how the best traditions are passed down just through the generations.
And he wants to honor that. He said he's so grateful to his mom for teaching him how to cook at home, and it was just by chance that someone told him after eating his cooking, you should do something serious with this talent. And here we are, now James Beard nominated, and that food at Tapori is just spectacular. It's so flavorful.
Try it. Yeah, it looks incredible.
Well, thanks for joining us today.
We invite you to check out our stories celebrating Asian American and Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander Heritage Month in the NBC Washington app.